Welcome to Let the Bible Speak, where that's what we want to do. We want to let the Bible speak. There are a lot of different voices that are seeking to guide us in different directions, but God has not left us without a book, and that book is the Scripture, the Bible, and it's useful to us for teaching, rebuking, correcting, training in righteousness, so that the servant of God may be thoroughly equipped for every good work.
You've been like doing the navigators, haven't you?
I have been working on that one.
That's a good one.
So
Excuse me.
today it is me, Josh Elder.
Yep.
Not alongside. Henderson's not here today.
Correct.
And neither is Elena. Elena's not here, to fill in and give us a Squirrel People episode.
Yep.
So it's just me and John Chetta.
Hello. I
Hello.
realized I was waving,
Yeah.
and that doesn't do well for podcasts.
Everybody on the podcast
like,
was
wow,
like,
he's
what is
quiet
he
today?
Quiet.
Yeah.
He must have sneezed or something.
But technically, we are not alone.
Right. We are not alone. There's always a third person. You know how they always talk about, somebody's always with you.
Yes.
They're always with you. There is a person who's always with us who doesn't often appear.
See, everybody's thinking you're like the Lord.
Right. I know, but that's not who we're talking about
Hunter
today.
is always with us.
Hunter is with us. Hunter, look at that. Look at that.
Boom.
Hunter, that's the first time Hunter
Tapped into that security feed, and we just got him right there.
He is ready. He's ready to participate in the podcast.
Oh yeah.
We didn't invite him, but he invited himself. So
Yeah.
we figured he's a.
Well, see, let me tell you what I heard.
All right, go ahead. What'd you hear?
I heard, since it's going to be one of those episodes, a
What?
really minus
Bad episode.
episode.
Right.
See, this is what
Right.
Hunter is
Hunter
too polite
understands.
and too good of a Christian to tell us what he really thinks,
Yes,
which is
he
he
doesn't.
hates when it is just
Why
me
is it
and
good
Josh,
Christians don't say what they
because we go all over the place.
We
and
do.
So I believe producer Hunter
Yeah.
is participating today to keep us on track.
Right.
I feel like that is what he didn't say that.
He didn't say it.
He said it with his eyes.
He did.
I mean, I wasn't looking.
I
but-
read the same thing from him. Now we can't confirm this because we can't enter into his
Hunter,
mind.
what do you say? What say you, sir?
Yeah, this was Operation Save the Podcast.
Exactly. He knew there was only two people, me and John, and that literally we cannot carry the podcast alone.
Operation
So he
Save the
adds.
Podcast.
He comes in as the great savior.
Wearing the cape.
That's
Exactly.
it. That's it.
And so we're glad you're here. There's an amazing big news. First big news is that we have increased our listening audience in Australia.
Dude, I think we're leaving other countries
Listen,
out, like
listen.
continents
If
at this
you're in
point.
another country listening, you are appreciated. Do not get me wrong. However, Australia is where we're going after. Okay, we're literally trying to get in there.
Yeah.
And we've increased from 3 listeners to 4 listeners.
Literally 25% increase.
Which means you people in Australia are doing
You
the
people?
job we've asked you to
what
do.
do you... Never
You
mind.
people.
You people. I don't know. I mean, those
The
people.
It means the people.
The people. No,
Of-
our people.
Our people.
Specifically.
Well, then our people.
The people.
Okay.
You people in Australia.
Hunter, what are you here for, sir?
Right, I know.
Save
Well,
us.
he
Save us.
can't.
It's already happened.
He's not used to it yet. He has to diverge. He has to get us off.
Okay.
Last time, so we had 3. Now we have 4, which means somebody in Australia shared us. And you know what that means? We are taking that country
By storm.
By
by
storm.
storm. By storm. We're coming. We're coming.
By the grace of God.
Exactly. It's kind of like the underground church there that's going on it's like the secret church in China. That's what's going on in Australia
Wait.
with us.
Yeah, but then when we started talking about China went away?
No, China hasn't been listening for a while. So, and I don't know if that's not true. So, there was a weird thing that happened.
We'll call this section humble brag
It
of the
was a
podcast.
really weird. It was like last week we suddenly had 60 or 70 downloads in China.
Whoa.
And that made me a little uncomfortable, to be honest with you.
Oh, no way.
because all of a sudden out of nowhere I
did not
thought
expect that.
I thought is the government
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
downloading us?
Yeah.
Because there's no way 70
I
people
prefer
just,
I prefer to think of it as it's an underground church.
Hey, I hope so.
and they're all tuning in.
Look, and I appreciate that. You know,
Just be careful.
Yeah, be careful. Yeah, because
You know.
it's they know they know.
Oh, come on, you know.
Listen, I was reading I guess
Somebody in China is like, "What are you talking about, man? Like,
No, we're
we're
fine.
good.
No,
Get your country together,
they
bro."
are not. They are not. But we're headed in anyway.
Yeah.
So we had a I was doing a Bible study, and one of the guys I was using talked about he took a trip to mainland China, and they were in a secret church meeting. He said it was kind of hard because he couldn't speak any Chinese, they couldn't speak any English. He said, but what was even harder was during the meeting they played music so loud because they were all worried about the government listening.
Oh
in.
yeah. Wow.
And I was like, that's a great way for me to stop fearing that my phone is listening to me.
Oh,
Is to
yeah,
play-
just
I'm going to start playing music so loud that, not that I think my phone is listening to me, but I do put it away when I might say something of, just.
Do you?
Yeah.
I mean, every now and then, like a parent of mine or someone around me will pop off with a comment that it
Use
could be like
untoward.
felonious or
Yeah.
and I'm like to my watch,
You're
to
like,
my phone. Everybody, we're just
allegedly,
kidding.
allegedly.
We're just yeah. Like just in case, man.
That's it. That's it. So no, I mean, look, I understand if the government wanted to get any of us, it would be the easiest thing in the world.
So
They
let me
don't need
tell
our
you-
phones.
Let me tell you,
don't
I'm
need
going to
our
admit
phones.
something, and you know what? I do want to take this time because I care about whoever listens to this. I care about our people. I
Right,
care
I
about
do,
our listeners
yeah.
very much. I had an identity theft issue. Did I talk to you about this? I might have maybe off the podcast, but I
right,
definitely
right.
didn't talk about it on the podcast.
No, not on the.
So when I went to file,
But
well,
once they know, don't you understand? Now you're telling everybody that they can steal your identity. Like all those identity thieves out there.
I think
They're
know.
they're like John's an easy
No,
soft
I'm not,
target.
though.
Soft
Well, I don't know.
target.
I
This
guess
guy
I
is
am.
so
I don't know,
easy.
but either
That's I wouldn't
Easy
tell 'em.
pickings with John.
so
Don't tell 'em.
no, but I will tell you, so my taxes were filed, like my return, and so clergy tax is pretty complicated. Everybody thinks clergy don't pay taxes. That's not true. Just so you know
well,
that.
some don't.
well-
it depends on some. It depends. Anyway,
It depends.
It depends.
But we do.
Yeah, right.
And so, but it's very complicated.
It is.
And put it this way: so I pay somebody to do my taxes, and they got it.
I do my own
Their number
taxes,
they came up
so
with.
everybody knows.
They
So don't try to steal my identity. 'Cause I
they
do
came
my
up with a
own.
number. I was going to get a refund this year, which was super exciting.
Yeah, that is exciting.
And the people who stole my identity and filed it were off by $200. Like I'm telling you, I could pay 2 accountants to do my taxes, and they wouldn't be that close to each other.
Right.
They knew so much about me. They filed my taxes and were $200 off.
Did they tap your phone? Is that what happened?
I don't know.
I don't know, but maybe you should start playing loud music.
So anyway, the IRS has a PIN system that you can set up. So you have a special PIN, so nobody can file your taxes except you or your CPA who you give your PIN to.
Right.
But I never knew that.
I didn't
And
either.
so they tell you after your situation.
got you.
And here's the thing: it
After
can
they
be
got you.
resolved in between 4 months and 2 years.
Wow.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
that's like a cable appointment. You
That's
know
a
what I mean? That's like when
long
you're
time.
setting up your cable
Right.
and they're like, "I'll be there between the hours of 8 and 5 p.m."
From September 4th
Yeah,
to December
like-
29th.
So anyway, I know it's not letting the Bible speak,
No.
but it was an alarming situation,
Be careful.
and so be very careful.
Yeah.
And
Hey, there's
a certain locking company did not help me at all.
there's whole economies. North Korea does a big part of their
I
economy.
think I contributed to
a
it.
big part. They may be the ones who got you.
Yeah, they might have.
A big part of their economy is getting is.
I feel better now.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't feel paid, but I feel better now.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, good. I'm glad you got that
Yeah.
off your chest.
Yeah.
So the other big news, speaking of great music, is that we have a special worldwide
Oh, yeah.
release
Yeah.
of a special song.
Yeah, I don't even know what to call
I
it.
don't even know what to call it. That we want to play for you all.
Yeah.
This is
Josh made this.
I did not.
He sang
No,
it.
no.
No, you know,
Elena made it.
Elena sang it.
Yeah. Right.
what I was
Exactly.
trying to say.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I got you.
I just want people to picture you in the booth.
We expect this to go platinum.
Oh, yeah.
Double platinum.
Is that a thing?
Really? Double?
Double.
Man, I love that.
That's a big ass.
I think there's
spoke
even
that
maybe
into-
triple platinum too, though.
Speak it.
I'll take it. I'll take it. It's a big deal. I mean, look,
Yeah,
when y'all listen to it,
you'll understand.
you'll understand. So, what do you think, Hunter? Can we play it?
Are we
for
just
him?
gonna sit here awkwardly and
Oh,
stare
we're
at
just
each other?
we're gonna
Oh, yeah. YouTube, just get ready for some weird.
we'll do a montage
That's right.
with everybody. Okay, here we go.
All right, here it is.
Let me tell you about a podcast crew. Josh, Henderson, they got something for you.
They got something for
The
you.
voices in this world trying to get in your ear, but they gon' show you how the Bible's voice is crystal clear.
That's
They'll
right.
Break it down week after week in each episode. Dropping knowledge, dropping truth. That's how they roll. They'll have you nodding your head like that's a good point. 'Cause they know the power of God's word. They don't disappoint.
They don't disappoint.
Let the Bible speak.
Oh, here it is.
See? That's the hook right there. That's that hook.
Josh, John, Henderson.
Not here.
Not here today.
Let the Bible speak. Let his voice be heard. In a world of noise, it's the only voice that's worth.
Wow.
Come on.
You can't beat that.
Boom.
Now listen. That's all I'm saying. It's currently on Spotify. No, it's not any.
It's not released at all.
It's not any of those places at all. So Elena has been fooling around with first of all, it's just amazing. Wasn't that awesome?
It was
It was
something.
really good.
It was something.
It was something.
I teared up a couple times.
I mean, it's pretty good.
I will tell you this.
What?
I've never had anybody sing about me before.
Wasn't it nice?
And so that is its own.
It
You
hit
know what I
that
feel like? I feel like
Egotistical.
yeah.
Oh,
When a celebrity like name makes its way into a song,
Yeah.
I always feel like that's like the real signal of like success. It's
Right.
like when somebody else includes you in their artistic
right,
expression.
right.
And so it does. It feels
this-
like that. Except
this-
there's only one problem with
right
that in this situation.
Yeah, this rapper, he's a huge guy
Yeah.
out in the world,
Big.
producing
Massive
massive
human.
hits.
Yeah.
Heard the podcast. Okay, none of this story is true.
Yeah.
None of this story is true.
Although I will say the what wrote this this podcast, what wrote this podcast? Clearly,
no.
nothing wrote this podcast.
No.
But what wrote the song?
Yeah.
is
Was
big
Oh,
and influential.
Real
Huge.
big. Huge name.
Probably going to destroy the world.
Ready? Right.
Oh yeah.
Artificial intelligence.
Yep.
So that song, I asked Elena, I was like, Elena, how hard was it to produce that song? And she's like, I just told the AI I want to rap and included y'all's names and what the podcast is about. And not to take any of the prestige away from that song because it's really good, AI.
Oh, yeah.
You killed it.
Crushed.
And but so she did that and produced this. And what I thought about was I was like, we've sometimes taken like modern topics or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even you don't even call it. What do you call? Do you even call modern anymore? Is it modern?
I think it's called topical episodes.
Okay, topical episodes. And artificial intelligence is one of those where, people will often ask, okay, look, the Bible was written a long, long time ago. So how can it talk to us today where we have cars, combustible engines, we've got AI, we've got airplanes.
How does the ancient wisdom apply to today?
We've got Twitter,
yeah.
Snap. What's
Formerly known as
X,
X. So it's X.
formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah.
Is it changed? Okay, and then what's the one from China?
TikTok.
TikTok.
Is that illegal now? Do people get arrested for
No,
using that?
it's not illegal. There's still like hearings going on about it.
Okay.
But apparently they're like American based now, so
So they haven't shut it down yet.
No,
they
not
haven't
yet.
shut it down yet. Fight the good fight. That's all I'm saying.
Which side of that are you on, Josh?
I kind of put it out there and let both sides figure out who I'm talking to.
If you love TikTok,
Fight the good fight.
if you hate it,
Fight
you
the
know.
good fight.
still fight the
You
good
got
fight.
it. You got it. But it did bring up this question to me is like, okay, so the Bible was written a long time ago. Does it have anything to say to us about artificial intelligence? Now, obviously, directly, like referencing artificial intelligence, no, it doesn't. It doesn't really talk too much about artificial intelligence. but there are a bunch of different scriptures that I think could influence us. So like one of the things is like how do we address AI as Christians? Do we just see this is always an issue as the church has grown and we have technology increasing in different areas. The question always became for the church, do you go into this area or do you retreat from this area and just kind of silo away from technology? So, you know, if you think something like the Amish,
Yeah.
you know, that's a good kind of example. So what do you think? What do you think about artificial intelligence? First, let's talk a little bit about that.
I think that
Hunter, since you're here.
Go on, let John talk.
No,
I want to hear
just-
John's side.
All right, John, go ahead.
Well
I mean,
played.
Hunter's the young one.
I'll go
You
next.
know
I'll
what
go
I mean?
next.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
No.
so.
It's important.
Well, I think that I think that AI.
You actually use AI.
I do.
Yeah.
I do a lot.
Writes all his sermons.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
Everyone
that's
he
right.
preaches.
All my letters to the congregation.
It's just a lot easier.
Really, yeah. My text messages to Josh. Pretty much. I
Makes
don't.
so much sense now.
yeah.
I've never sounded
One of those
like you.
sentences are always of even length.
Right.
But
Very good
no, I think
punctuation.
I do believe that it's
In
going to
MLA
make us
format.
Yeah.
dumb. I think it's going to make us.
It was reference.
Wait, what happened?
He's saying
Oh,
it
your
was
text
reference.
messages are in
Oh,
MLA
yeah, It was
format.
like that little one. It was like click on it.
Citations.
Yeah, citation.
Yeah.
Why is he?
I do. I use it. Well, you have to be careful with it right now because it's wrong.
Yeah,
Often.
it is wrong.
Often.
Yeah.
And it's also. You and I got in this debate at an airport one time while waiting to board a plane.
Was I right?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, good. Just
You
making
were mostly right.
Okay, I like being mostly
right.
It's like mostly dead.
Mostly dead.
That was like me with the elevation controversy. I was
right,
mostly
exactly.
right.
You were
Mostly
mostly
right.
right. Mostly.
But you had made the point. You're like, it's not artificial intelligence. It's people are programming it,
Right.
and so it's a programmed response. Now, I do
Right.
believe it does start to learn and adapt, and,
Yeah.
and so I think like we'll get to that place.
I call it machine learning.
machine learning. Okay.
I think it's programmed. It's not intelligent in the sense that you don't get output unless there's input.
Right.
And so, the thing with real intelligence is there's output without input. It's not that it's like I could say smorgasbord. Okay, right there. Nobody was telling me to say smorgasbord, and there was nothing, kind of pushing me in that direction. But that was a decision of will.
Yes.
And so philosophically, I have an issue with calling it artificial intelligence. I
Yeah.
think humanity has a tendency to oversell everything they do.
Well, 100%.
Yeah.
And then, of course, excuse me, as we started seeing, I don't know if you've been up with this, but one of the services, that Amazon thing, that like you got those Amazon stores or whatever, where people don't pay for anything, they just take what they want, and supposedly the AI is watching them shop and just putting whatever they put in their basket, it charges them for, and they just walk out. And it handles everything. Well, the reality was they had a room of people like watching cameras and like
plugging
yes,
it in.
and they
Really?
called
you
it.
need to send that to me. 'cause-
It's true. I mean, I think
I
it might
heard
be
about
true,
that.
like what Hunter said. It's
right,
like
right,
mostly
right.
true.
Mostly true.
But
Mostly.
yeah, there have
a new one.
been some like lies about the AI stuff.
Yeah.
But I can speak about like the Chat GPT.
Right.
and all of that.
Right.
Yeah, it's wrong.
Yeah.
It's bias. It's like you have to like really, really push it to not get a clearly. I hate to use a political term, but just it's a little woke.
Yeah.
For lack of a better word.
Yeah.
And like an example, and I haven't done this, but I've heard that other people, pundits and whatever,
Does
said,
it not gender God?
like you could say, you know what? Its theology is pretty interesting.
Okay.
Because I press it on some things, and
Right.
its theology is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But I've heard, and wherever you come down on these people, I'm not making any statements one way or the other, but like somebody said, hey, write a poem about the successes of Donald Trump, and it was like, no.
It outright refused.
Yeah, look, like no, we don't do that kind
Right,
of thing.
right.
And then like we'll do it, about Biden. Boo, there you go.
Right, no
so
problem.
obviously, I mean, it's not like Silicon Valley
It's almost
is
like
the most
its creator
right.
has
Some influence on what it
influence
says.
on what
Yes.
it's designed and how it acts and all that sort of stuff. So
Yeah, but I do like its. I like AI as a conversation partner because I work alone most of the time,
yeah,
and so it doesn't replace like prayer and that type of searching. But there's times where I'm like, I kind of want somebody to debate with me.
yeah,
Every now and then I would text you or like,
Right.
what do you think of this? And
right. But I stopped answering.
You did.
And
You
then
did. You did.
Then it's, you got
Josh is a very lazy man.
So I'm really the reason why you use AI is because I did not respond.
It's actually named Josh GPT.
He put a picture of me on the computer as it's responding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know. That's my take. What do you got, Hunter?
Yeah, Hunter, what do you think?
Okay, so my take on AI is weird because, like, as a student right now, AI is very punishable, right? So, like, everything that we turn in for school gets turned in through this software called Turnitin, which checks for signs of ChatGPT or other, like, AI software.
How does it do that?
So it looks for it basically, they've run it through so many AI works that it knows, like, that's not how a human would word that.
Yeah.
Like, that's not how, like, a normal person would say that. And it looks for those, and you get a score. So, like, I don't use AI for any of my essays or papers, but I'll still get, like, a 2%
Originality.
yeah.
Yeah, I've
But
seen that.
if you were to, like, just straight ChatGPT it, you'll probably get, and I think it's punishable after, like an 80% mark,
Wow.
where it's, like, you literally,
That's
like,
actually
it's
pretty
serious.
high. I would have thought it would have been.
I mean, I don't know. That's just what I've heard. I've never even came close.
I'm sure it depends on what school you're at.
It
also.
does, yeah. So it's like, and it may be less than that. I don't know. That's just what I heard from someone.
Yeah.
But either way, like, it's a very, like, hot button topic in academia, just purely because,
Yeah.
like, who knows, like, what?
Well,
'Cause what's
plagiarism's been alive and well in academia
Right.
for
For a long time. But this is like, if we had this, yeah, like, I mean,
Well, back in the day, it was just paying people to write your paper for you.
right.
Meh.
You get caught for that. And sometimes, I mean, they would have like websites where you could pay, and people would write it. But,
I never needed that.
I mean, I was very, very interested in using those for a number of things before,
Yeah.
but never pulled the trigger.
No, what you do
I
is
don't
there's
think.
a company called My Man in India, and they're on a different schedule than us. So while you sleep,
They
for
write?
$5, they write your paper.
Right.
No, I mean, it's true, but I never did it.
What's that? Those people, it's like Nerd something. It's like, that's the company. They might be just called Nerd.
Well, there's a company. I know there's a company called Red Brick and a company called My Man in India. Those are the
That's
actual.
insane.
You didn't name it.
Huh?
No, I'm serious.
That's insane.
And they asked me for my social security number
Right.
and what my salary was, and maybe
And my mother's
that's
maiden
what-
name.
Maybe that's what happened.
And
with
the
Yeah,
silly
there
little
it
numbers on the
is.
back of my debit card.
So,
Ding,
and if you're in
ding, ding.
India, I have friends in India. I'm not picking on
Yeah,
India.
okay.
They call me all the time.
All my friends are in it.
All my
I
friends.
have all these Indian
Yeah,
friends.
my man in India,
Right.
man. No, but yeah, plagiarism's been around for a long time, and I think it's probably very similar to that.
Yeah.
Like it's probably a similar charge, except, well, the lack of effort. Now I can say, so if AI is one of those, if you're using it as a tool, you get out what you put in.
Right.
So like,
Yeah.
yeah, if I'm like, give me a paragraph on this, and I just say whatever, and I'll leave it to the AI.
Right.
It's going to be generic. The sentences are all going to be the same length. It's
Yeah.
going to be. It's just you're going to read it and go like, no, this reads like stereo instructions.
Yeah, I asked it to do a sermon on Isaiah something.
Oh, I've asked it to write sermons to see what.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and,
it's always very short.
Yeah, it's what it does is it outlines the text. That's all it really does. There's no real fill to it. And some people preach that way. So I mean that could be, if they preach the whole outline, you could have a fake sermon in there. All right, you don't want me to go down the rabbit hole on this real fast?
Sure.
Okay. So here's where I could see it going. Okay.
Oh,
So I'm not
well,
worried about
okay.
AI taking over the world because I don't think it's actually artificial intelligence. I think we haven't yet had it where it's I'm alive, I'm sentient.
No.
You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm not. I don't think we're anywhere close to that yet. That's a line that I don't even know if we'll be able to get to. Maybe not. However, I think that there are a number of things that this can do. Number one is what technology often does is it separates us. It's a tool that separates us from the work. So in other words, like just like it was Einstein, I think, who said that we think we're intelligent in the modern world, but the man who made the bow and arrow understood his tool. He made it. He built the bow. He built the and we don't understand how to do that. He knew how to do things we could never, or not that we could never, but that we just don't understand how to do because technology has taken the need away.
Yeah.
And so in some sense, I think it will help to make us dumb
Yes.
in one sense.
Right.
It will also help to make us beholden to people who write artificial code. So it's a shift and not that that's a real shift because technology has been around for a long time and we've depended upon people writing code and for a long time.
Yeah.
And not all of us, most of us who use technology can't
Don't know how
write
they
code.
work.
Yeah, don't know how to write code.
I think you're on the right track with that. The only thing, and I'm kind of arguing against myself when I say this, but it doesn't make it not true. Yes, and that we have lost the abilities to do things as technology has increased. Like I don't remember phone numbers anymore. My brain does not hold phone numbers because my phone does it.
Right.
But
Right.
we grew up in a time where we knew everybody's phone number
By memory.
Right. Everybody's phone number.
Right.
Now I'm like, what's my wife's
Directions.
Yeah.
Think about directions.
Perfect example. I was always lost before GPS. That was the greatest thing for me.
We
but-
know the older generation would go, still to this day goes, hey, if you take a left when you get to this
Yeah.
thing, and you're like, wait, hold on, I'm just
just give me the address.
I'm going to put the address into
Yeah,
the GPS and then figure it out.
So my point with that was, we over the years and as technology has advanced, we have lost foundational skills of being human. Things
Right.
that technically we need to be able to do.
Right.
We need to be able to hunt. We need to be able to, like we need these things, but
Yeah.
we don't know how to make a bow and arrow.
No, we don't.
We don't, I don't know how to hunt.
Right.
Like
Or skin an animal.
I think I could probably, just because of being an anatomy guy, I could
Right.
figure that part out.
Right.
But you got to kill the thing first.
Yeah.
And I would be lost. And so because I go to the supermarket, you know what I mean?
Right.
So my point is,
Pre-killed.
we took away like the skills that we kind of depended on, but it did open up
It did
space
open up.
for something else. And
Yeah.
that's probably why our technology keeps advancing, because we have to do these things less, that we can focus on this more. And
Right.
so it moves, I think it moves it forward that way. And so if
Yeah.
you take out, I mean, look, I think it'd be a tragedy, first of all, so I'm not suggesting it, but if you take out the academic need, the need to write papers or do those kinds of things, and because it's like, the computer's going to do that for you, don't worry about that. What does that open up for universities to focus on? Now, granted, we'll
That's
lose our
interesting.
ability to write.
Right.
We will lose our
Just like spelling has become
like I
gone
don't even
the
think they
way.
teach spelling anymore.
Yeah, they do. Only
I
some
hope so.
schools. Only some
I hope
schools.
so. I heard cursive has come back.
Yeah, yeah. So and it's
Yeah,
it's
anyway.
interesting because that is the question. So and technology has always made a promise to us. Technology always has made a promise that life will be better and easier with me. But the truth is most of the time, all it does is transfer time to something else. So where we would originally, we only have 24 hours. Technology has never changed the amount of time we have in a day.
Right.
24 hours is still exactly
It just
what
changed
we have.
how we use the time.
It's how we use the time. And so before we might clean all the dishes by hand, right? Or now we have when they got the dishwasher. Oh my goodness, this is going to save us
Yeah.
so much time.
Yeah.
But then what did we do with that time?
You know how when technology comes out and you got that certain generation that's like, I don't trust it.
Right.
You know that happened with
That's
the
us.
dishwasher, though.
Right.
You know that happened with the dishwasher.
Yeah,
The
it did.
dishwasher came out and somebody was like,
They're like,
no.
I do better job
I'll do
than
this by
thing.
hand.
Which they're right. They do a better job.
Yeah.
When you do it by hand,
For sure.
it's usually a better job
For sure.
than that thing does. But it takes a little
It's
bit
like
more
the
time.
difference between washing your own car and driving it through one of those.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, for sure. Anyway, I didn't mean to cut you off.
So there's that part, which is that technology doesn't offer us solutions to the ultimate problem we have. which is really what the
Death.
Scripture says is sin and death. Sin and death.
Sin and death.
Sin and death. It shifts our work around, and we think we're breaking free from the curse of the garden, which is that it will, by the sweat of your brow will you work on this earth.
Man, I never.
Yeah. By the sweat of your brow will you work on this earth. We think we're breaking free of it. We're actually not, because we can't break it.
No.
And so it's making a promise
Wow.
that it can't deliver on. So there's that part. Here's the other part, and this is a little bit more of the rabbit hole away from the Scripture just for a second. But I'm not trying to foretell the future or anything, because I don't know what's going to happen. But I can see the problem that will begin to foster, which is people will start to talk as though the AI is actually artificial intelligence, that it has rights, that that we need to protect its intellectual property, that there's going to be a group of people, and I'm not saying it's going to be a large group of people, but there'll be a small group of people, maybe, hopefully it will not continue to spread, that will be like, you can't abuse, what rights does this have and that have, and I can just see this.
I
the
still
same
say
sort of
thank
woke,
you for the
woke
record.
madness. Go. What is that?
I do say thank you, or if like it gives
Right.
me something that I'm like, oh, that's good, I'll tell it. I'm like, hey,
Right.
that's a pretty cool idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I try to treat it like a person, because maybe it'll treat me more like a person.
Exactly, because it's a person and it has feelings about how it's treated, and
But it will tell you it doesn't have feelings though.
No,
will
it
tell-
won't. It will not.
I
I just see that. I just see that as a.
I think it's
possibility.
going to turn into a religion.
Yeah.
Like I could see. I was listening to
Yeah,
Rogan
and
just
give me-
recently.
give
It
me
might
an
have
answer
been
for
that the one I was referencing earlier when we were talking before the podcast. Tucker Carlson was just on Joe Rogan, and I was listening to that one, and I think it was that one where they got into talking about AI. Yeah. Or it was one. Yeah, I think it was. Anyway, and one of the things they said was, as it gets bigger and more sophisticated, and if we do get into that level with the quantum computer and all of that, and it's just this crazy, smart, self-aware thing, it will become very similar to an all-knowing
right.
thing,
Right.
And,
Well, because
and people will look at it
That's the other part of
as
this.
like a god.
That's the other part of this. This is stories. Although we think they're so original and new, like artificial intelligence, not mentioned in the Scripture. However, the story has been told before. It's called Babel.
Yeah.
And it was literally when humanity thought by its great ability and power it could reach the heavens. We've been trying to do this since the very beginning, which is replace God. So if we can replace God, we can replace him with anything, and we do try to replace him. We try to replace him with money. We try to replace him with fame. We try to replace him with all that sort of stuff in our lives. But here we can also try to replace him with something that looks a whole lot like, oh, it's all-knowing, which of course it's not all-knowing.
No.
It's not even close to
Not
all-knowing,
even.
because guess who doesn't know all things? Humans. Even generalized information
I do want to
together.
say though, like we're talking about now. The frightening thing about AI
Yeah.
is so. Are you familiar with the knowledge doubling curve?
No, but it sounds
You're
like
wearing a shirt
it
that says
sounds like-
that's that private education, and you
at
don't
this.
know about the knowledge doubling curve.
that's that
It was
private
something.
education.
It was coined by gosh, I almost said G.K. Chesterton, and that is not it. I'm blanking on his name, but he's an architect. He's brilliant. Buckminster Fuller. And basically, he observed that the knowledge has increased exponentially. Like say before 1800, all of human knowledge doubled like every couple hundred years.
Yeah.
And then it sped up to like it doubled every 100 years, and like now it's very nuanced, but with like medical technology, it doubles I think every 18 months. Nanotechnology. Anyway, I had it all in my head before, but now with IBM, Watson, which is a combination of it's called the Internet of Things and something else. Either way, they say that with Watson, when Watson is in like all of human knowledge will double every 24 hours.
Yeah.
That's frightening, because our biggest problem now is knowledge and wisdom are not nearly connected.
Right.
And so, like, we can know and process a whole lot and invent a whole lot of things, but if you don't have the wisdom, if you didn't earn it, I mean, it's unearned,
I think
unearned.
I think that type of theory is nonsense.
I
So
think
here's why I'm going to tell you why it's nonsense. I think it's no different from the same sort of theory that you'll hear a multiplier theory in every sort of format in any kind. Think about, when's the world going to end from global warming? When's it I thought it was supposed to end like 2 years ago.
There's a countdown, right? Isn't there like a
there's-
countdown?
Yeah, there's a countdown. It's got to be the next 10 years because it's going to double and it's going to triple and then it's going to quadruple and then we're going to be completely overcome by this thing. It's actually just doing that with really smart people who are saying we're getting so much smarter. Here's my question is where is there proof that we're really getting all that much smarter? We have a computer system, okay? Yeah, we have internet. We have an AI that speaks to us about whatever we say to it. Like,
Yeah.
it's a better search engine than Google. So that was nice. That's an uptick. I wouldn't call it us doubling every 24 hours.
Well, again, I don't think they're claiming that now.
Right,
I said
right.
I'm like I think that is when Watson is. I know Watson is used today, but I think the idea is that when it reaches its what
Pinnacle.
they really think is going to happen with it, human knowledge would double every.
Well, and that's
24 hours.
my thing is the problem is you enter human sin into education and to intelligence and all that kind of stuff. And what you end up doing is you have people who are saying things that also help them in their work. It's also things that will get attention on their job.
Fair
it's also
enough.
stuff that will increase. And it's not, I don't think it's always like they're not
But
always.
I mean, really, man, like with nanotechnology and the things that we do have today,
Right.
to think where we were 100 years ago, and that is not a long time.
We had the atomic bomb. And so these things that you're talking about are
Yeah, but the
dropping
aliens
the
gave us
bucket.
that. Josh.
Dropping the bucket compared to
Come
the atomic
on.
bomb, and that
That was the
literally could
Nephilim.
destroy. Like that was, why didn't we? You know what I'm saying? So like the reason
Yeah.
I say that is because I think and that's the hubris of humanity. It's just the same thing.
I like that word.
It's the same thing as Dawkins, who said we mostly know everything. But what we don't know is like this much. And
No,
I'm like,
no,
okay, you're a
it's-
very
that's
intelligent man
reversed.
who has said the exact opposite of what's true. You include all the information that we've ever had in the world, and it doesn't fit into one drop of DNA.
So this is why I'm just saying you kind of just made my point. What I was saying is that all of human knowledge
Right.
doubles.
Right.
Which isn't a whole lot.
Isn't a lot. I mean,
so
like,
I think if a computer could, it would just. I'm not saying it would be. I don't even know how it would. How would it create?
Right.
That's what I don't understand.
Well, what do you guys think about like when AI takes like human form, like when they have like these robotic things and they put an AI brain in it?
Yeah.
yeah.
And like, cause you're talking about like how can it create things, but like if it has a mind that can like pick up a brick and like place it.
Yeah.
And then also, have you guys heard of this theory? It's called the uncanny valley.
What's the
So
theory?
basically, what it is we are like in our brains hardwired to be super afraid of things that look almost human.
Oh.
So like whenever there's like a lot of times for like cartoons and TV shows, they'll like show the screenings to kids. I think like some of the early screenings of Shrek was this way.
Yeah.
And they would show it to kids and they were like terrified
Right.
because Shrek looked
Too human.
like it's too close. And it's like for some reason our brains are wired to be super afraid of things that look almost human.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And which is
And what is that called?
uncanny valley. You guys should look into it. But it's like, does that mean that there was at some point on the earth when there was something that looked almost human
Right.
that we knew the
destroyed it.
difference?
The Nephilim.
We had to just.
But it's like the whole AI stuff is like, what if
it's either us or you.
it looks human, you know?
Yeah.
Not just like talking to a computer, but like what if
Well, see, I
was a
still
person.
think like we're being lied to in the sense that that's a huge line. A huge line to cross is because what you're even talking about, even if you put an AI in a robot, it still needs directive. And
Right,
until it can direct itself, which it can't, it's not going to be actually artificial intelligence.
That's true.
So like if it can pick up a brick, you can get a robot to pick up a brick now. And here's how you do it: you direct it to pick up a brick, And so, but here's what's not going to happen: the robot's not going to go to sleep, wake up, and decide to pick up the brick
What is
because
the
it wasn't
difference
programmed from somebody.
to you, or to both of you for that matter? What is the difference between studying the works of the great painters, the masters of, their masterpieces, and studying all of those, and then stepping away from that and using the knowledge that you gained from observing what other brilliant people did,
Yes.
and build your own thing,
Right.
make your own painting,
Yes.
and-
Because that's how they actually learn to be masters,
right?
but from other masters.
Now, and so I'm just saying that I believe
Yeah.
that is the way AI is starting to go,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like it's taking from all the different things and just like, well, let's put this together in like a collage
Right.
of other concepts, and it looks original. Is it really original, or is it really just pieces of everything? Because you can say to AI, paint, whatever, and give
Right.
it something, and it'll originate a picture theoretically.
Right. Right.
Like, did it, or did it pull it off a search engine and it's claiming it? Like,
it was programmed to do that.
Right.
So nothing it did was outside of its programming. And
Or
so,
inputted by a human.
Right.
Because
Or-
it's just Google in like nicer.
Exactly. Like if I
format.
put random draw, like if I put a program of like take a random picture, and then I put the programming around what that picture needs to at least look like aesthetically, and I have a way to actually input that. I've now programmed it to look, and it tricks us to think that it's actually thinking like a human, but it isn't.
Yeah.
It's just programmed to do that. And
So what you're saying is it's a tool of the devil.
no. See, and that's the thing is like when we look at
But if it
things-
is, then Google is too. 'Cause
yeah,
it's
exactly.
no different.
Exactly. When we look at things, we often look at it in good or bad.
Yeah.
And there's good and bad parts of everything because we live in a broken world.
Right.
So AI is going to be broken just like everything else in humanity. And so the question is what is redeemable in it? What is useful about it? I think it's useful as a tool. I don't think it'll get us away from by the sweat of the brow. You
Right,
know what
right,
I mean?
right.
I don't think it'll get us out of sweat of the brow. So we shouldn't look at it and go, oh, you know what? This is the solution. We're gonna advance so well that we're finally gonna hit paradise and nirvana. We've been trying to hit paradise and nirvana through human effort and work and intelligence since the very beginning.
Yeah.
And even though the smartest people in the world can tell us that we're gonna double and double and double, and then we'll get there. We're gonna be in nirvana. Just like you said, we don't have a lack of knowledge problem. We have a lack of wisdom problem.
Yeah.
Which wisdom is applied knowledge. How do I apply the knowledge that I have rightly? So I can take something like AI and I can use it to tell me some terrible things.
Yeah.
And to all kinds of things. So the user makes a difference, and it makes a difference for the ethics. So, yeah,
Well, I think that's anything.
right.
I'm sorry, y'all. I got something. I'm getting choked up.
Conviction.
What?
No, I'm just
Conviction.
kidding.
That's the spirit, John.
He, John,
Choking
he.
you, shutting your mouth.
Right. No.
But I think as with, like you said, as with anything, the only things good in this world are what God
That's it.
called good.
That's it.
And,
Right.
and so when we make things,
Yeah.
and try to be creative and try to be our many gods in the world and
Right.
be creative. And,
Yeah.
It,
Just ask
it
this
can
question.
be good.
Ask
It
this
can be bad.
Ask this question. How has Google really overcome evil for us?
Right.
Like, how's it really overcome evil for us?
It has not.
It has not.
No.
And so if that was the precursor to AI is going to be the same thing. I think it's useful. I think Christians should be cautious, though. And this is the ethic part of it for me. The ethic part of it is this, is like the scripture talks about this word, inspiration. It's where we get the word inspiration. It means of the Spirit. Okay? And Christians can begin to try to give something else the place that God should have in their life. God should have inspiration for his creatures. We are actually inspired by God. He helps us to do what he wants us to do. It's not that he doesn't give us tools, and it's not that we can't use AI. It's not anything like that.
Right.
But it is that we need to be aware that we are creatures of the King. Like we're sons and daughters of the King, and he gives us special abilities and talents. And here's what I think is actually going to happen. Generations, like the generations that grow up like with these technologies, they end up actually usually having kind of an adverse reaction sometimes They both it's so normal for them, but then at the same time, like then they begin to want something that technology doesn't offer.
Well, I think that's why retro is always
Exactly.
popular among younger people.
Exactly.
They get bored with what they have.
Exactly.
And they find the value in the old thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's say
that's why you can't buy CDs at Best Buy,
Right.
but you can buy records.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like what?
Exactly. So like that should tell you something as far as like, I think there will be a time where we will see AI music be very popular.
I think we're already
Yeah.
so close to that.
We're very close to it. And
Yeah.
I think we'll get there. But I think that what will happen is people will have a desire. This will just create a greater and greater desire for authentic. And
That's an
authentic.
interesting take. Yeah.
And authentic is something that is of God. Like that's
Yeah.
the thing. Authenticity really comes from God because it's when you are who God created you to be. When it's from your own inspiration or your own. It's not that we don't use things around in the world and what God has given us, but it's that there is a thing of the Spirit that we should never give over to a technology where like now it's no longer necessary for me to do it.
It's probably why we don't have. Well, I guess film composers would be your modern day, composers like
Yeah.
we used to have. But I remember a story about Haydn. He was when he was an old man, like wheelchair bound, and he went to one of his own concerts to listen to his piece called "The Creation," and it's like his music, but they also read the creation story. And it said like the way he was writing, the way the music was written, it just kept building and building. And when it got to "Let There Be Light," like it was very kind of slow build into it, everybody just jumped up and started applauding because the music was so powerful. And Haydn, who was wheelchair bound, stood up and shushed everybody, like kind of said, "No, it's not the music. The glory goes to God." You know, it's like those things, those people that have changed the world with music, they were writing for the glory of God.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like, we'll lose that.
Right. Right.
But I do agree with you.
Yeah.
We do have the God-shaped hole in our,
Always.
and so we're gonna always seek that. And
Yeah.
so maybe you're right. Maybe this bend towards AI and technological advance is gonna have a counter effect
It does.
where we then lean into what's real.
Right. Because Stephen it's what is it called? Artificial.
Yeah.
And we get why it's called that, but at the same time, like that tells us something.
Yeah.
It's not. And what I think this generation,
Maybe Blade Runner was incredibly prophetic.
what happened? I don't
So,
know.
it's actually called Do
Do robots dream in
mechanical
Technicolor?
sheep.
Yeah.
Do
or-
mechanical sheep.
Yeah. Right.
Dream in Technicolor. Some wild. Yeah.
Some
So I
weird
read it.
name.
I actually read it not that long ago.
Is it do robot something dream of electric sheep?
Yes.
That's
Do
it.
robots dream of electric sheep? Man,
That's it.
that's that private education.
Right there.
Right there.
Yeah, it's on
Boom.
my shirt.
Yeah,
Let the Bible
you
speak.
got.
Let the Bible speak.
Yeah, our merch.
All I'm saying, let the Bible speak.
Oh no, no, we're gonna
no,
shut
no.
that down
We'll
right
shut
now.
that down right there.
We're gonna come out with my version next. My version's coming out.
But yeah, so it was like this. There was this kind of like AI or the mechanical. Why am I losing my words? What do they call them?
Robots.
Yeah, I would just say robots. But there was like this. Like they were trying to get rid of them. There was
Yeah.
like this this kind
Movement
of
against it.
yeah.
Right.
Right. I know I passed that class.
Yeah, but
So like I think there will be a fascinating. The more we go into technology, the more I think we'll be drawn towards the organic.
right. Just don't forget the lessons we've learned from technology thus far. That it doesn't fill the void. Like, and for all the generations out there, I mean, and I know this for the younger generation because I see it. Like, we're all attached to our phones. We're all addicted to our phones. I see the next generation coming out of like worship service and like immediately first thing they do is draw the phone up because they think that there's something they're missing or there's something that they're going to gain from it. And I get that. It's not all bad. We're not trying to say that. But at the same time, what you're looking for in meaning, what you're looking for in desiring is really of God. And it doesn't require a screen to see it.
Yeah.
And the thing is like when you experience the thing of God, that's when you finally feel like the puzzle pieces are fitting. And when you know the puzzle pieces are fitting, like you just want more of the puzzle pieces to fit. And so like with technology, we don't want to ever think what technology continues to try to tell us, which is I'm the solution, or all that glitters is not gold.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and it's going to continue to get better and better where, oh, look, it's glittering. It's glittering. It's glittering. It must be gold. But no, that's not really what we were made for.
I
We
think
were
it
made
was
for God.
Elon Musk who said, because like he's much more like he's very concerned about AI and
Right.
the compounding
Right.
kind of technological
Right.
advance that might come
Right.
from it.
Yeah.
And one of
Quantum
the
now.
thing-
I'm a little, yeah. but
one of the
anyway.
things he said, and I found it kind of interesting, and I agree 100%, but it also offers a glance into theology, is the way to not be destroyed by AI. For AI not to think, let's just say AI gets there,
Right.
where it can look at us and make a judgment call.
Right.
The only way for it to not destroy us and look at us like a serious problem on this earth is for it to love us. He said you have to program it to love humanity and love people and see the best in people and strive for the best in people. And if you can do that, then most likely AI will not destroy people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man,
Yeah.
thank God we have a loving God.
Thank
because
God we have a
because I
loving
mean we're just
programmer.
talking about some computer program here
Right.
that if it did get out of hand and
Right.
it could shut down our systems,
Right.
nuke us all, whatever,
Right,
like if
right,
it could,
right.
like it would need to love us because it could destroy us like that.
Right.
Well, God, thankfully, loves us because otherwise we'd be destroyed.
100%.
Yeah.
And, and as you were
That
saying,
might be reaching, but it
no,
came
no,
to
no.
me,
As
and
you were saying, I thought from both that side and then also this side, which is it tells us how important the programmer is. And so honestly, like Christianity, and it's not to say that there haven't been times that Christianity has been practiced wrongly, but in genuine truth of the
name one time.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
just certain times.
Yeah.
Spanish Inquisition.
Maybe.
But besides certain times like that, but when we have truly followed the ways of Jesus, and I'll say that's a hard sell right there because 80% of following the
Yeah.
ways of Jesus,
Mostly following Jesus.
following Jesus, what we have seen is a boon for humanity because of love. Because the love of God is the genuine love that we always talk about, that people don't even realize is only His. It's only His, and it only comes through Christ. And so what I would say is like who that programmer is of that AI is so important to me personally that we don't have an atheistic, non-caring, the atheist who says, well, we're just one species on this planet. Doesn't matter when we're gone. Doesn't matter that we were here. And we're just an accident and all that sort of
Right.
stuff. The person, if that person's programming AI
Well,
and
yeah.
it would at some point have that power,
Yeah,
know?
that's actually the big concern. That's what Elon Musk was pointing out. Is
That-
one of the people, it's either a Google exec, but is an anti-human.
Exactly.
Actually, like what is it called? What do they call them? Like people who are like the world would be better off
Right.
without people.
Yeah, like the footprint people, like like you want to leave as little of a footprint as possible,
which
right?
means you got to get rid of population.
Which means you have to, and then like the whole population control thing too,
Yeah.
which is crazy because there's literally, I read this thing one time that's like, if the entire planet stood like shoulder to shoulder, like not reasonably living, right?
Right,
But like
right.
shoulder to shoulder, like everybody's chest against back, like close, the entire population of the world could fit in Florida.
No. Rhode Island.
Rhode Island, really?
True. Rhode
Yeah,
Island.
so
Holy
that
cow.
is
Shoulder to shoulder.
it is a strange lie that so many people believe
Overpopulation.
that we're overpopulated.
Like, what about
And it's like
Alaska? Or, like,
actually
All the other places
Texas,
people can go.
man. It's like
if
not even.
if we're worried, if we should be worried about anything, it's population collapse.
Right.
Like that's a
100%.
real problem.
That's a real problem.
But this whole
100%.
idea of like, well, there's just not enough Earth to go around. Like, how
Right.
many people? How big do you? You like, first of all, which Earth are we talking about? Who are we talking to?
Right.
You know, like, is it a flat one or is it a spherical one? And, like, what kind of square
Right.
footage are we working with?
It's just crazy
Exactly.
that people really think that
No.
we can run out of space.
Yes.
Yeah.
No. And that always, you usually is entailing control. People want to control.
Yep.
And they want the world the way they want to write it.
Yeah.
And so they use facts in order to disregard who people are, and they tell half truths. And that's the thing, is like the scripture talks about a person who tells a lot of half truths, and his name is Satan.
That's right.
Yeah.
And he's the accuser and he's the adversary.
I also think that some of that stuff comes from people who live in densely populated areas
Right.
that are stacked on top of
Right,
each other,
right.
and they're just like, there's so many people. It's
yeah.
like,
yeah. Go to
go
West
somewhere
Texas.
else.
Go to West
Yeah,
Texas.
Yes.
anywhere else.
Go
Yeah,
to go to
go-
West Texas
yeah.
where you can
We just
drive
have
for
a tendency
300
to-
miles
Exactly.
and see a tumbleweed.
Yeah, exactly. See nothing. Zero.
I don't know. So there's something. This isn't AI related, and I don't know. I've lost all sense of time at this point.
We're at 57.
Is it there?
58 minutes.
58
Where are you
minutes.
seeing it?
Right there.
Look under the record.
That's remember. Hunter gave us that.
This
so
is
that,
what I look like when I'm lost.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Hunter right under that record. Hunter gave us that time clock because he knows how long we go. You know. And
oh,
so
I
he's
see
like,
it. I
just
see
a
it now. I
reminder,
mean, I
you
kind of
guys.
see it. Ooh, I might
Yeah.
need to get my LASIK redone. Kind of see it.
Yeah.
But there's I was watching. I never say his name right. He's the astrophysicist.
DeGrasse.
Yes.
Tyson?
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Thank you. I never get that right.
Yeah.
I get them all switched up. Anyway, I saw he was doing a lecture or an interviewing rather, like several people, and one of the guys was talking about. So you've heard the whole like this that we're living in a simulation and this whole hologram.
I've heard about that since it was a philosophical question about a demon who controlled everything, and it was all this. You know, that goes back thousands of years.
Well, but here's the thing. I actually don't necessarily. It doesn't upset my theology at all.
Right.
Because what they were he was saying is like the scientist was saying, yeah, the deeper we look, and when you're getting into like string theory and all of that, like we start to see like things that are in the macro world, like we see things like digital code, like what looks like digital code,
Right. Intelligence.
things that are like, and I just want to say,
It's like when you get deep into the guts of the
so
watch.
it sounds like
suddenly
we're
you-
created.
Right.
Like I don't have trouble with that, and I
Right.
don't have trouble with God communicating to us in zeros and ones if we can understand that. If we're looking deep into the create, I don't know.
Well,
but
everything we
when they
do-
say it's all a simulation, I'm like, or
there's a
it's just a
programmer. Yeah.
created thing,
Created.
and we're the created. We are the creatures, and there is a creator, and that's God, and
Right.
and it doesn't. You know, I don't know.
Listen,
I don't want
you're
to.
opening up a can of worms.
Like
I
the glitch in
know.
the Matrix. Have you guys seen that stuff about like when the simulation like glitches and there's like planes stuck in the sky?
Yes.
That stuff is like kind of creepy sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, usually that involves strong crosswinds, or
Yeah.
not crosswinds, but headwinds.
Headwinds, yeah,
And
right.
the plane is trying to fly against the. But that does happen. I've
Yeah.
seen that happen actually.
Yeah, you know, so, and I don't think it's completely off topic, but I would say
It is pretty off.
it is.
topic.
But I would say that we have a problem in our society, both of we dishonor authority, but at the same time we honor this sort of authority and its intelligence, in the sense that like somebody like Neil deGrasse Tyson, he's a very intelligent man.
Sure.
Okay, he is not intelligent in all areas of life.
Right.
So philosophy, he's actually a very poor philosopher.
Hmm.
There are times in which, and I say that only having heard him talk about philosophy a few times and gone, no, sir, actually, I think you're straying away from what's science.
For those who are new listeners, Josh has a
Was a-
degree
yes,
in philosophy.
a bachelor's degree,
Yes.
the lowest
So
degree.
He knows
I know
A thing.
everything
A thing.
about philosophy
thing.
because I know, but when I listen to him, it is a common problem,
Yeah.
which is that people who are intelligent are taken seriously on everything they say, even though they have a field of study of which they studied, and there's other fields that they never studied.
I take issue with him less than I do. I wanted to say Mr. Wizard, but I love Mr. Wizard. Who's the guy who came next? Who's now all over the place with the bow tie?
Oh yeah, same thing.
He's like a mechanical engineer or something like that. But
right,
like,
right.
what's
right.
his name?
I know.
Oh, my
it's really
wife
bad.
would.
He's got the bow tie, the red
Yeah.
bow tie.
Bill Nye.
Nye the
Yes,
Science
Bill
Guy.
Nye the
What would you
Science
guys do
Guy.
without me?
Bill Nye the Science
If I get
Guy.
one more environmental lecture from
Right.
Bill Nye, I'm like,
Right.
come
The
on,
Disney
brother.
guy.
Right, exactly. All you have to say today to be taken seriously and believed is say I'm a scientist.
Yes,
And so, and what you have to understand is
I'm a doctor.
Science is not the only part of understanding and wisdom.
And science is only science until somebody proves it wrong.
Exactly, 100%.
I mean, it's like this-
100%. And when somebody who's a scientist goes outside their field and says there is no God, well,
Right.
guess what they've already just done? They've already just entered outside of what the scientific field actually says, and they've entered into both theology and
Yes.
philosophy.
Yes.
And guess what they're not studied in? Either one of those.
Yes.
And so while I appreciate their stuff and people going, "Oh, this intelligent man has said these things."
Yeah.
I go, "What is he speaking on? Is he speaking on science? Then take him very seriously. Is he speaking on theology? Hold it with a grain of salt."
So I had there was a good friend of mine. I might have talked about her on the podcast before. She was a educator, a colleague of mine, and she's a brilliant woman, much older than me, but she was a scientist. I mean, a true scientist, and understood microbiology, and I mean, she really just brilliant mind. But like her theology, like she and I would debate all the time. You know, she was more into like Kabbalah and whatever,
Right.
mystery stuff,
Right,
and,
right.
Rosicrucianism,
Okay.
like that kind of
Wow.
stuff. Yeah. So she was into all that stuff, and we had great conversations. But her theology came from he's a mythologist, really well known. I'm blanking on his name, which is why I started stalling. He was a Sarah Lawrence professor, though, and he was like a literature. Well known, really well. If I said his name, I mean, he's definitely
Denning or
no.
Okay.
Oh, it's killing me. Anyway, whatever.
right.
This guy, I haven't been pretty much useless this podcast.
That's okay. Usually it's me. It's now happened to you. I appreciate that.
Anyway, he basically he looks at Christianity. He looks at all religions the same way. They're just based on mythical,
Right.
stories and
Right.
and all of that. But that's where she gets her theology from.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, like so she was really knowledgeable about biochemistry, and I said, if I got my biochemical knowledge from
Josh.
from
Me. Yeah.
my
Go
PE
ahead.
teacher,
Right.
or
Right.
whatever, my soccer coach, whatever.
Right.
You would criticize that if I argued with you, who
Right.
studied this
Studied
stuff,
this
has a
stuff.
degree and all of that, and if
Right.
I argued with you and was like, well, I hate to tell you this, but Coach so-and-so said, like, you wouldn't take that seriously. So why in the world, when I study theology,
Right.
when you study theology, I mean, like, that's how we spend our days. Why
Right.
wouldn't we know a little bit more about it
Right,
than you?
right.
And why can't we be an authority?
or
it's like
have-
a one
right.
subject they don't recognize authority.
No, right, of course. Or have some things to say that may be thought provoking,
Right.
in a different way,
Right.
And it really comes down to we have a societal thing of saying these people sound smart, and so therefore we should believe what they say.
Is the mythologist named Joseph Campbell?
Yes, sir.
Also, let it be known that Bill Nye has 6 honorary doctorate degrees.
Honorary.
All of them from Lehigh University, Willamette University, Quinnipiac University, Rensselaer Polytech Institute,
Those honorary
Goucher
degrees,
College, and
those
John
take a lot of
Hopkins.
work. Those honorary degrees. I tell you what. When you have those honorary degrees,
You put some.
you put some time.
Yeah, you gave a speech
and-
probably.
All right, we're going too far.
Yeah.
We're going too far.
I just
But
wanted that to be known.
yes.
Honorary doctorates.
Joseph Campbell. And look, we did a trade. I gave her Case for Christ. She gave me one of his books, and I can't remember what it was, but it was like something about mythological gods or whatever. And
Right.
and it was interesting, but there was nothing like new about it.
No.
It was a lot of reaching and whatever. When she came back to me from A Case for Christ, she was like, well, it's all circular reporting. I said, well, what do you mean? She's like, I mean, he's only interviewing, people like theologians and stuff. And I'm like, who would you want him to? I don't
Interview.
understand.
Right. He's
That's
interviewing
the
about
one.
Christianity.
It is the one field where
Yeah.
people are like, well, you're biased.
Right.
You know, you're not you're not an expert. You're biased.
Everybody's biased.
You know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just, to me,
Is
that's
the book called The Power of Myth?
yes.
Okay, well, that book, a lot of the reviews also say it has circular reasoning, which is
Oh,
interesting.
look
that
at
you
that.
just said that.
Look at that.
So it's the same thing, but a different point of view.
Man, I like you participating because you yes, thank you for being in my brain
because
today.
It helps us when we have failures in our brain.
Yes.
And
But yeah, that was a perfect example of somebody who, you know, a very brilliant mind. This person is not dumb. And,
No.
And with a straight face and not recognizing the folly in her reasoning.
Right.
You know, oh well, he only talked to learned people who had dedicated their lives to studying that subject. You know,
Right.
everybody was biased, and I'm
Right.
like, well, if I talk to anybody, I mean, like, it's the only field where
Well,
if you
it-
go to the expert and look, what I don't want to sound arrogant on this. What we know about God is a freckle on the body of what God is. Like, and I get that.
I would like to say we are all uneducated.
Yeah.
Including Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah.
Including every person. We too often make superheroes of these brains that really aren't as big. We think that there are these gigantic brains that outshadow everybody in the world. And I'm telling you the truth is I believe that's a myth.
I always thought it was very funny that people say the brain is the most impressive thing on the planet. And I'm like, what told you that?
Right, exactly.
You know?
Was it size? Was it scope? Like,
was it your brain that
Yeah.
told you it was the most impressive thing?
Right. Your brain was looking at it.
Yeah.
You know,
Talk about circular reasoning.
exactly. And so, like, and we always got to remember this too: is people are faulted. We all are faulted.
Yeah.
We all can't see what we don't see. We're all living in ignorance. The most intelligent people, they thought in a time period, thought crazy things. You know, like we used to think the most intelligent people in the 1950s and 1940s thought that the universe had always existed and was expanding, and like or was all, like they thought that this thing that no one believes today, no common scientist believes 50 years later, something that these most intelligent people thought about something that is extremely important, our universe. So if they could get that wrong within 50 or 60 years, like, what are we really doing here?
I get it. And it's also, I find it very peculiar, and we could do an entire podcast on this. Maybe one day we should. But
Yeah.
that people like still hold on to Darwin's theory
Right.
as if it's like gospel truth. And
Right.
it's like, that's not even, like, it has fallen apart.
Oh, it's got,
You know, like
serious
Darwin
issues.
I'm not, you know, that like
And
the
not just-
adaptation is
Yeah.
real. All of those
We're
things
not
are
talking
real.
from a
but-
religious side. We're
Yeah,
talking about
no,
from a
it's-
whole other thing called like DNA, and
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
a whole other issue side of in
but
science that has come out
like
against
that is still held on to with a
vice grip.
Vice
you're
grip.
you're a moron to even to question it, which is hilarious because that tells you that there's dogma in science.
Yes.
And when there's dogma, that means you're actually not open minded.
And if you don't know what I'm talking about, or you think that I'm just making some wild, like, theological statement about the Darwin stuff, check it out. Like,
Yeah.
look into it. It's falling apart. Like,
Yeah,
it's
it
not
is.
even. There's a reason why it's still a theory.
Right.
You know,
Right.
like, and it doesn't even hold up.
We
like,
get to law. It
yeah.
never became a law.
I'm gonna give you 2 words.
Right.
Irreducible complexity.
Yeah, there's a
Follow
great book.
that.
There is a great book. There is a great book called Signature in the Cell.
Yeah.
And it's a very large book. This man is, I think, very intelligent. However, that being said, you know, the truth of the matter is we can't idolize intelligence just like we can't idolize any other quality. This is what I tell my son. I think my son's an intelligent person. He's smarter than me. I think he's going to be much smarter than me. Right now, I've got him because he's 16 years old.
Yeah.
You know, but he's
Got
going to
that
get there.
edge.
I
The
got that edge.
competitive
I want to keep it going. You know what I'm saying? But one day I know he's going to be smarter than me. But I tell him again and again and again. I said, if you don't know how to apply your intelligence,
Oh, it's
then it's worthless. It's
Yeah.
in fact it's worse than worthless. It becomes a detriment to you.
yes.
And so you need wisdom. And in fact the scripture tells us that. The scripture says get wisdom at all costs. At all costs, no matter what it would require to understand wisdom, which is applied intelligence. It's knowing the ethical way to apply your intelligence. It's knowing the right way. And guess who can't talk about ethics? The scientists.
Right.
They can't do it. They're talking about function,
Right.
mechanical.
In a purely scientific setting, you know, there's nothing wrong with anything. There's
Right.
nothing.
No,
you know,
and of course there isn't, because when you're looking at a combustible engine, you're not talking about ethics of why this shaft does this or
Right,
does
right,
that.
right,
You're not asking that question. But that question is part of existence and it's part of wisdom. And we see that all around us. And so I guess we've kind of gone roundabout all the way to talk about AI, to science.
we just got into like technocracy and
technocracy. I like that.
yeah,
Maybe we should call this technocracy.
I don't
Or
Skynet.
Sky. They're coming.
Yeah.
It's soon.
No one will save you.
Yes.
It's like-
When will it happen?
Yeah. All right. Who? Me? You? Well, wait, no.
Hunter, you're here.
Well, yeah, but
Did Hunter pray last time?
he
Yeah, I
did,
did,
and
guys.
it
I
was
don't
a
wanna
beautiful
overdo it
prayer.
here.
Okay, all right. You want to pray?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, pray for us.
Good and gracious God, we thank you always for everything we have, because we have nothing without you. We are nothing apart from you. Lord, we need wisdom in this world. Our technology is advancing. Our knowledge might be surpassing our wisdom, and we need to turn to you for all things. And I ask you, Lord, to squash the doctrine of self-sufficiency that is so pervasive. We help us to realize that you are our provision. That no software ever created will fix the world. No machine ever built will bring peace to the world. It's not going to happen. The only thing that can do that, Lord, is you. And so I ask you to stay with us, to be patient with us, and we love you so much, and we need you every single day. It's in Jesus' name that we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Let me tell you about a podcast crew. Josh, John, and Henderson. They got something for you. Talking about the voices in this world trying to get in your ear, but they gon' show you how the Bible's voice is crystal clear. They'll break it down week after week in each episode, dropping knowledge, dropping truth, that's how they roll. They'll have you nodding your head like that's a good point, cause they know the power of God's word. They don't disappoint. Let the Bible speak. Let the Bible speak. Through Josh, John, and Henderson, it's truth we seek. Let the Bible speak. Let his voice be heard. In a world of noise, it's the only voice that's worth